Hi, my name is Laura, and this is Purely Inspired Living. Okay, so let's get started. When we're talking about basic astrology, so astrology is very, very in depth. There's so much information, and not only is there just so much general information, all of this information then interweaves with one another to create this whole other realm of what is going on and how does it work together. There's just like so much. It's like, okay. So if you are just starting out and you really want to use astrology to come up with a more practical approach to your life, one of the best places to start is just by simply understanding the elements that are associated with each sign and their modalities. That's what we're going to talk about today, the elements and the modalities. Because if you can understand the element that it is associated with and the modality that it's associated with, you will have a better understanding of what that energy is. All right, so that might still sound confusing. It's okay. We are going to get through this. All right, so let's look right here. We start our zodiac wheel right here. This is our ascension line. This is where we go from here. All right, so our very first sign is Aries, and it is a fire sign. So we are going to start with the element of fire. We are first going to start talking about the elements. So we have Aries right here. Our next fire energy is Leo, and then we finally have Sagittarius. You will notice that they are all red for fire. So all of the signs that are fire energy are going to show up in this place as red. Most of them, they will show up as red. Different apps that you use, different websites that you use, their coloring scheme might be a little different. So just note that I'm using Astrology, and for them, they use red for fire energy. So fire energy is usually associated with things like passion, creativity, high energy, and enthusiasm. So if you don't know anything else about Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, at the very minimum, you can know that their general energy is going to be high energy. It's going to be enthusiastic or happy energy. They're going to be passionate people, okay? They are usually leaders, and they have a strong sense of self. So those that have strong fire energy in their birth charts and their natal charts tend to be leaders. They tend to have a very solid understanding of who they are, and they tend to be high energy or enthusiastic, etc. All right, so that is our fire energy. So we've talked about our fire, which is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Now we're going to move on to our earth energies. Our earth energies are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So earth energies tend to be very grounded, very stable energies. We're talking about really practical energy, really reliable energy. So some personality types that are associated with earth energy they're going to have a strong foundation. They're going to feel very grounded, very stable, very safe. They're going to tend to be pretty level-headed. They don't let their emotions take hold of them. They don't get overly passionate. So they're very, stability really, really does signify what an earth energy type is. So they tend to be very level-headed. They tend to be responsible, and they tend to have really good work ethic. Because again, we're very practical. I say we because two of my big three are earth signs. So I'm very much an earth energy person. So I am quite practical. And I can assure you, my emotional range is not way out here. It's more like boop, because stability, a firm foundation in this area. Okay, so they're stable energies. Our next is Gemini. Gemini. Our next energy is air energy. We see that in Gemini. Gemini is shown in green here, so all of our air signs are going to be green. So we have Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Aquarius is kind of confusing because we see like little waves. They're known as the water bearer. So that is a little bit counterintuitive. Aquarius, we hear the word aqua in it, and we tend to know that aqua means water. That's not what this is. This is not a water sign. This is an air sign. So we have our 3 air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Air signs tend to be very thoughtful signs. They like to think a lot. They tend to be very intellectual signs, social signs. Usually, these people who have strong air energy tend to love communicating. They love sharing ideas and having discussions. So our air energy is going to be very much intellectually based. All right, it's very thought, it's very, and we'll say they're very airy. Somebody's very air-headed. When we say that, we mean they're flighty. They're flaky. They're very scattered. Okay, so they might have a lot of thoughts going on, but there's so much out here that there's not a lot that they bring right here, if that makes sense. So that is something that I don't want to say air signs are flighty or flaky. Like, that's just one of those common ideas that we have, but it's only because so much of their energy is like out in this way, coming out of their head. It's like everything, there's so much going on up in here. There's so many thoughts happening, and they love sharing these things. But when it comes to being practical, that's an earth energy. And so that's something that air kind of has to work on. Our next energy element is going to be water. So in this chart system here at astro-seek.com, water is blue. So our water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. Now remember, our sun is in Scorpio right now. So November 4th, sun in Scorpio. So we are in a water sign. But when we're talking about a natal chart, we are talking about water being part of personality. Okay, so water signs, again, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Water signs tend to be very emotional signs, like not in a bad way, like just emotions are really strong with this element. So emotions and intuition and empathy are all big associations with the water element. So usually they're very emotionally sensitive people. So when we're talking about personality, they're emotionally sensitive. They have a strong connection to feelings, not just their own feelings, but others' feelings as well. And they tend to be really connected to the spirit or the soul, because again, we're talking about something like deep inside of us, that emotional connection, that heart-loving emotional connection, that is our soul energy. And it tends to be very connected to this water. So those are our 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. Okay? Again, in different charting systems, different apps, different programs that will show our zodiac wheel, their color systems might be different. I have one, air is yellow and earth is brown. I mean, actually, to me, those colors make more sense. The earth and air colors here confuse me a little bit, but that's okay. I do know that Gemini is an air sign, so I know that anything green is going to be air. All right. So if you only know the element associated with a sign, that is going to tell you as much as you need in the very, very beginning. These are basic ideas. Again, fire energy is very passionate, very enthusiastic. Earth is very practical and stable. Air is very thoughtful energy, and water is a very emotional energy. That will tell you a lot of information about any planets that are in that sign, or if your big, not if, your big 3, you're going to be one of them. And that's going to tell you a lot about your main personality type and that connection that you have with those different elements, okay? Next, we're going to talk about something called modalities. Now, that's something we have not discussed very much before, but the modalities, there are 3 modalities. We have cardinal, we have fixed, and we have mutable. Okay, those are the 3 modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So I'm going to point out the 4 cardinal signs first. Cardinal sign 1 is Aries. Then we have Cancer. Then we have Libra. And then we have Capricorn. So there will be one element that is a cardinal sign. The fire element that is cardinal is Aries. The water element that is cardinal is Cancer. The air element that is cardinal is Libra. And the earth energy element that is cardinal energy is Capricorn. So when we're talking about cardinal energies are known as being very initiating type of energy. They are very go for it type of energies. They tend to have really good leadership qualities. So all of those cardinal energies, that cardinal energy embeds this sign with leadership skills. All right? They don't wait for someone else to do something. They just go for it. They are the first ones. They don't mind being the first ones. And actually, so someone like an Aries sign would love to be first. We will talk about a little bit more about how the element and modality play off of one another here in a little bit, but just know cardinal energy, 1 in each sign. So the first is Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. So each of those are our cardinal energies. They are very go for it energy. If you can only remember cardinal is go for it, that's pretty good, because that pretty much sums up what that energy is doing there. Our next is fixed. So our fixed energies are going to be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Those are our fixed energies. So they tend to be steadfast, determined, very stable energies, and they're very resistant to change. So sometimes we think of fixed signs as being stubborn, but they're just resistant to change. And one of the great things about a fixed sign is they have a really amazing ability to see a long-term outcome. Because they're so resistant to change and they're so stable, they can see further out and think of a more longer-term idea or approach. So they see the long-term effects, and it's easier for them to be persistent because they can see on a long-term scale. So they are known for being committed, determined, and have really strong endurance. And all of that comes from them being able to see further out than some other people can. So like if you know anything about Scorpio, you know that Scorpio tends to be very intuitive, and that intuition leads to them having a lot of psychic ability. Okay, and that psychic ability lets them literally see further out with those psychic skills. Our last mutable our last mutable energy group is going to be Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So our mutable energies, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So with mutable energy, mutable is very flexible. It's very kind of fluid. And these, wherever they show up in whatever sign, or wherever that sign shows up in your chart, shows that you can have characteristics of both a fixed sign and or a cardinal sign. It changes, it shifts, it is fluid, it moves. So it's adaptable energy. It's open to change. It is known for having resourcefulness and really good communication because it's adaptable. And it's good for having good adjustment skills. All right. So our mutable signs are very changeable. I mean, not that they like change, but they're just flexible. Sometimes, depending on the situation, it can have more fixed energy. Sometimes it can have more cardinal energy. Sometimes it's somewhere right in the middle. That's what we're talking about with mutable energy. So again, mutable. Gemini and Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. Those are mutable. Those are flexible energies. All right? So if you can't remember all of the things about all of the signs in all of astrology, first of all, I'm right there with you. It is a lot. And one of the best places is to start with elements and modality. That gives you enough information that you can start to, especially when you're looking at your own natal chart, it's enough to give you some foundation, and then you can see how it shows up in your life. So what I mean by that is if you have let me show you mine. So I have a Virgo sun. So Virgo is earth element and mutable energy. So my main vital life force energy is going to be very practical, because we're going back to that earth element. That earth energy is very practical. It's reliable and it's mutable. So meaning that I can be flexible. Sometimes I can be very go for it during different things. Like I can just do my own thing and be comfortable with that. Sometimes I dig in my heels and I say, no, this is how it is. And I don't fluctuate from that. I am a very flexible person because I have that mutable energy. But I'm grounded and I'm stable. So that is the core of me. The core of me is very grounded and stable. But the way I show that, the modality, the way I show that can be flexible. Sometimes when I'm nurturing someone, which is a kind of an earth energy idea, when I'm nurturing someone, depending on the situation, I can be quite stern. And other times I can have a very go for it, a very fire-based approach. So that's kind of how those energies play out. If we look at Aries, okay, Aries here is fire and cardinal. So it is, again, a very go for it energy. It is very passionate, very creative, very high energy. So a lot of times what we see with Aries is it will jump headfirst into something without thinking long term, like what are the consequences of this action? Okay, because that long term thinking is going to be a fixed energy. It is not a fixed energy. It's a cardinal, which is just jump in. Just jump in. We see with Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth energy and a cardinal modality. So what that means is it's very practical, it's very grounded, it's reliable, and it just goes for it. So it has the strongest, maybe not the strongest, but one of the stronger work ethics. It is very work-based. Taurus and Capricorn both are very, very much work-based. They both have very strong work ethic. The difference is that Taurus is fixed energy, so it is going to be very, very steadfast, and it is not going to move. We think of digging our heels in especially when it comes to work ethic, that would look like, I approach work in this way, and this is how I do it. A Capricorn energy when it comes to work ethic is, I like to go through this way. I mean, they don't look and see, well, Joe does it this way, Sally does it this way, so I'm going to do a little. It goes, this is how I do it. I'm just going to go for that. Taurus is, well, my supervisor, whoever told me this is how this is supposed to be done, so that's how I'm going to do it. Then if we looked at Virgo can be a little bit of both. It can listen to what it's, like the instructions of, this is how we do it here. But it can also say, yeah, but that doesn't work for me. I do it this way. So that's how so it looks at both of them. All right. It takes that, here are the instructions, here's how I do it, and kind of mingle the two. And Taurus is just, this is how it's done. Capricorn is very much, well, I do it this way, if that kind of makes more sense. So if you can start to break down where your big three are, understanding the element and the modality, that is going to be probably the most helpful approach for you, because that will tell you a lot of information about that energy that you're working with. Yes, there is more to it. It is much more complex. But if you are just starting out and you want to really practically apply astrology to your life, having a firm foundation and understanding the basic elements and their modalities will tell you all the information you need to know to get started and to start incorporating these ideas into your life and start recognizing where they show up in your life. All right, that's why when we go down even further and talk about when a planet is in detriment or a celestial body is in detriment, that means it's in a sign and modality that it's the opposite of its home. So it doesn't work as well. It's harder for it to come to fruition in that sign. And knowing your element and modality will help you understand why that is, where you're seeing struggles at in your life, and how you can start to work to balance those. All right, I hope that was helpful to you. Like I said, it has been a while since we've done any kind of practical astrology here on the tube. And I wanted to get on here and share this with you so you can start applying that to your life. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, how you think you're going to use it. Let me know how this helps you, how you're starting to recognize things in your life. Share your experience. I would love to hear from you. And I think that's it. So until next time, I hope you stay inspired.